I have been making scale models for more or less as long as I've been able to hold a modelling knife, and today I have quite the collection displayed on several shelves, mostly in my house, some are in a box, and others are still in my parents' shed. However, recently one of my key shelves has developed something of a structural integrity problem, and I thought, well, as I've got to clear the whole thing out and reassemble the shelf anyway, I might as well show them off. And so here, as a slight variation to the usual content, I present to you some of the numerous scale models that I have built in the last decade or so. So I suppose the first of two very important things to state is that this shelf has a theme. This was the Battle of Midway themed shelf. Essentially, I tried to get a model of at least one of every type of aircraft that flew during the Battle of Midway, which was of course June 1942, and this project was completed in 2022. However, the second important thing to say is I have gone through modelling with many breaks, and that is very noticeable in the skill level between them. So, for example, this one was one of the last ones that I used enamel paints on. So 2020 is essentially the turning point. I got back into it, finished this display which I'd started before, so before then it was very casual, very occasional enamel paints. It was just something to do, stick it on a shelf, doesn't really matter. The quality is not great. I then got a little bit better but still used enamel paints, and then developed from there to using acrylic paints, using an airbrush, and that's the sort of stuff that I show off now. So all of these are going to be enamel paints, generally speaking Humbrol, however not always. I will mention where possible, but because it's a theme they're all generally going to be the same colour anyway, which is Humbrol intermediate blue and light grey if it's American. So with that in mind, we have the first aircraft. Now this is a Hasegawa TBM Avenger, which has been crudely made to look like a TBF-1, which essentially just involves adding a gun barrel on the starboard side and ignoring any other differences. As you can see, as is standard with enamel paints, and this is ultimately why I got rid of using them, the varnish has just ruined the finish of this. It's so frustrating when you spend so much time on a model and the varnish just shits on it. But it's not bad. With all of these kits, let me know in the comments if you think they are worth keeping or should go in the bin. But there we go, this is the first one. Aftermarket decal, should have mentioned that as well. This is not, hence obviously the converting the front anyway. But there we go, that is aircraft number 1. Aircraft 2 and 3. Now one of these of course has made an appearance in one of my shorts, that is the Brewster Buffalo, and the other being an Airfix F4F Wildcat. Again, both in Battle of Midway colours, what a surprise. Interestingly, you can see the very different shade of blue that's been used on the aftermarket decal set on the Buffalo relative to Airfix own on the Wildcat. I much prefer the Airfix colour, personally. Those aftermarket decals make it look a little bit washed out and a little bit bland. The Buffalo is the Hobby 2000 release of the Hasegawa kit. It is very nice. Let me wobble the Wildcat. Let me show you the underneath. See? Rather nice. Varnish once again has, of course, destroyed the finish. Whoop! Wildcat again. But overall, not too shabby. The Wildcat seems to have fared a little bit better. Still shows where the varnish has corrupted the paint finish. I could make both of these kits all day, every day. They are both an absolute delight. I suppose this video is going to be quite simple for people that know the Battle of Midway well to guess what is showing up, or just to read the description. But anyway, moving on, this is a Hasegawa Curtiss Seagull. I bought this second hand and used aftermarket decals. I don't think there were actually any in this. I can't remember what set I even bought. No, I didn't buy a set. Sorry, I didn't buy a set. I just bought standard roundels and found some spare numbers. So yeah, this one didn't even have an option. It's not like I specifically chose number 10. It's just the number that I had, and I was using some photos and things as references. But Curtiss Seagull, it appeared from cruisers and battleships and things as standard reconnaissance aircraft, or one of the standard reconnaissance aircraft that the Americans used. So I included it in here. The kit is quite old. The varnish has, of course, damaged it. Comes with a separate little stand, which is very helpful. I honestly think that this aircraft... Oh, the propeller blade's gone. Okay, if anyone saw where the propeller blade went in the video, please let future me know. But I think this aircraft is crying out for a retool. It's maybe not the most well known, but come on. Hasegawa being the only one to have done it. Yeah, not acceptable, guys. Come on. New one. Now we have something very similar, but of course the other side of the fence. This is a Dave. I can't even remember what it is. It's Nakajima E something? I don't know. It will appear on the screen. I'll have remembered, by which I mean looked it up by the time I edit this video. This is, of course, a reconnaissance aircraft from the Japanese side during the Battle of Midway, and this is an RS Models kit. This is one of the newer ones that was done post-2020. I can't remember exactly when, but it's not that bad. The varnish has not destroyed it as much as on some of the other examples. However, I either lost or chose to omit the clear, the little papery type of windscreens. Either I felt it was too fiddly or I just lost them. I honestly can't remember. So like I said, this one was post-2020. It was probably around 2021 that I made it. All enamel paints, as already mentioned. And I do know that the colour on the bottom is extra colour Imperial Japanese grey green. I quite like that shade of grey green. A lot of people just seem to get it looking ugly. Unfortunately, of course, this does not have any sort of trailer for it to sit on, and as such it's been on the shelf perched with a bit of foam and some 9mm track. Kind of like that. Obviously a stand would be more helpful, but you know, not everybody does it. RS Models, being a limited run company, mean that this kit is a little bit expensive, but at the same time, well, I say a little bit expensive, it's about 15 quid. It's not that bad, or it's between 15 and 20, I think. But it's not a particularly common aircraft. You're not likely to find it from many other people, and I just quite enjoy it. It's an interesting aircraft, and I didn't really know how to go about the reconnaissance stuff in the Battle of Midway, but yeah, I think I pulled it off quite well. Very little interior detail, and again, that's probably because of me. But yeah, not bad. Sticking with the Japanese side of the Battle of Midway, we now have a Val. Now, I like the Val. It is an interesting aircraft. Fixed undercarriage, which kind of makes it simple for a dive bomber. Very reminiscent of kind of a Stuka with straight wings, except, of course, the profile on the top. Absolutely fantastic. This is not the old Airfix kit. Nobody will be surprised by. It is the Dragon under the guise of Cyber Hobby kit. I have made two of these in total. One of them in green, as you can see here. The other one is in standard all over grey, as per Pearl Harbor. However, being Battle Midway, I needed another one. So this is the second of the two that I made. No, it isn't. That's a complete lie. This is the first of the two that I made. I think it's the first of the two. I actually have no idea. I'm going to go back and pretend that I know what this is. No, I don't. It's one of the two that I made. I think it's the second of the two, because I generally prefer the all-over grey colour. This is one of those kits that suffers from instructions that are not the clearest, especially with regards to things like the bomb swing mechanism. I remember getting it wrong on one of them, which is why I think this is probably the second of the ones that I made. And to do the wings... the wingtips as they are means just gluing a flush edge to a flush edge, and I remember breaking them several times trying to fit them together. However, I do like the look of this aircraft. Both of these colours are extra colour, I know that. So again, enamel. The varnish has not destroyed the bottom as much on this, so being one of the newer kits of the ones on the shelf, I can't remember what I used, but I clearly had stopped using whatever the Humbrol enamel varnish that I used in days of old. So this one is not too bad, not too badly put together, looks pretty decent. Certainly nothing like what I would make now. All of the ones I make now are better than this, of course, but yes, very good. Well, now we have something which is very important to me. This may surprise a lot of people, but this right here is probably my favourite aircraft of all time. Probably. I've never seen one in real life because they're all either in America or there's one in New Zealand, but it is, of course, the Douglas SBD Dauntless. Yes, I like Tiger Moths. Yes, I like Mosquitoes. There are lots of planes that I like, but there's something so special about the good old Slow But Deadly that just really appeals to me. This is the Hasegawa kit. It's the first and only, at time of recording anyway, stay tuned, it's the first and only Hasegawa SBD that I have made. This one had a lot of holes drilled in it. The real Dauntless had holes drilled in the dive brakes. They were not symmetrical, so to have them through like that, the same without any sort of metal or fabric in the way is wrong. However, there is no way of doing that without getting etched replacements. So again, stay tuned because I might have already... I made loads of Airfix ones as a kid, and this was the first Hasegawa one that I made, and it immediately makes all the Airfix ones look like garbage. Unfortunately, it is in quite a bland colour, and I really don't like this shade of blue. This Humbrol 144 Intermediate Blue just looks naff. It's fine when the model is new, but it immediately just fades to being whatever this is. This is a kit that I've got a lot of time for, and I could just fill my shelves with Dauntlesses in all sorts of shades and colours. And this one equipped with a single bomb. Well, I think that will just about do it for today. I've subjected you to enough. This has only covered half of the shelf, so there will be a part 2 unless I get enough hate from here to make it more or less worth my while to do so. We'll have to see. Anyway, quick shout out to the channel members who are still hanging around, and you can join them if you like. It does help me out and help me buy more kits and hopefully some screws to fix the shelf. Like, subscribe, notification bell if you want, and normal service will resume. Normal service has resumed because I still can't say it. You know what? I'm not even going to finish this sentence. Bye.